ripe tomatoes on the vine, which as I said, ready for picking. Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll have a bit of a chat about what's going on here in Spain while I go for a walk with my dog Mia. So let's go. Now, as you can see, a lot of caravans here still, considering we're halfway through July. People haven't gone on holiday yet, apparently, from what I'm looking at here. And I've found this caravan here, which I don't know whether it's just like a metal box. I've never seen a caravan like it in my life. Let's go around and have a look at the other side, but a very strange looking caravan, this one here, if it is a caravan, because there's no windows at all, and it seems to be completely covered with these steel or metal sheets. So don't know whether that would be the best place to spend your summer holidays, but anyway, so as I just said, still a bit strange that there are a lot of caravans still here. I thought that people would be away, but no, we've got a gap here between two caravans, so obviously they've taken their caravan out, and there's another gap up here as well. So there are a few, but I was expecting it this time of the year to be down to around half, but not the case. Now, another quiet day here, as you can see, not many people out and about. I imagine that there are quite a few people on holidays at the moment. People have decided to take their summer holiday break and get away. July and August are normally the months for that here in Spain. And as we know, that's when the coastal areas really start to get busy and people leave places like Madrid to escape the heat. Because as we know, it has been extremely hot over these last few days. Around a week, I would say that we have had this second heat wave of the summer. And I know it's hot everywhere in Europe at the moment. It's hot in England, it's hot in Wales, it's hot in France, it's hot in the Netherlands, it's hot everywhere. Spain and Portugal, very, very hot, up into the 40s over the last few days. And that unfortunately has led to a lot of wildfires, forest fires, bushfires, whatever you want to call them. And the reason for these fires, hot temperatures obviously, strong winds, and everything is so dry. The forests are dry. Some people are complaining about forest management, that the government has not let people clear forests or prepare for the fire season, and that's what people are up in arms about at the moment, especially in the areas that are burning. And when people start to lose their lives in these fires, which is what has happened over the last few days, 2 or 3 people have unfortunately lost their lives, there is a problem. And so bad are the fires in some parts of the country, especially in the north of Spain, Zamora, that the fast train service between Galicia and Zamora yesterday, or Galicia and Madrid, I think, was suspended because of the risk to the trains and the passengers on the trains. And you might have seen in some press outlets that there was a train that was almost completely engulfed by flame. It had fire on both sides of the tracks. Passengers were extremely nervous. The train driver stopped the train, and people didn't know what was going on, and some very nervous times on that train, I can imagine. So the state rail operator Renfe deciding to cancel trains for the time being because of the fires. Now I'm out and about again with my faithful companion Mia. It's a little bit cooler today. The heat wave is over today, coming back again tomorrow. And somebody said the other day, why don't I get her clipped, give her a bit of a haircut? And the answer to that question is that I'm going to do that next week so that she can be a little bit cooler with these hot temperatures, little Mia. Because as we know, this weather not only hard on humans, but hard on pets as well. And I can imagine the birds, little bird that we saw there running across, also suffering with these extreme temperatures, just like dogs and other animals, and as I said, humans as well. Now, we had an interesting chat the other day about beer. There was an article that popped up about the price you pay for a beer on one of these outdoor seating areas here in Spain, what they call the terraza. Very popular places to sit down, have a drink, and that's what people love to do in summer. It's a favourite pastime of the Spanish. and people love to get out, have a drink, have a tapper, and enjoy the afternoons or just before lunch. And it was interesting to see the different prices that you pay for a glass of beer sitting outside, or a double beer as they call them here, cerveza doble, outside on one of these terraced areas. Anywhere from €2.30 to around €6, depending on which autonomous community you are in or which province you are in. I think the cheapest prices were down there in places like Seville, Cadiz, down there in Andalusia, but ironically the most expensive beer was in Almeria, close to €6 for a beer like this sitting outside, which I thought was expensive, to be honest, because there's a lot of difference between a €2.50 beer in Seville and you head to another place in Andalusia and you pay close to €6, which in my opinion is a bit of a rip-off, considering that here in Madrid you wouldn't pay more than $3.50, $4.50 max, I don't think, for one of these beers. And we had a comment from Alan, I think it was, down there in Cadiz, saying that he paid around $2.50 for a Cruz Campo beer at one of these outdoor areas, and I said Cruz Campo, not really the best beer in Spain. That's my opinion, of course, but when you are down there in Andalusia, there's a fairly high chance that you are going to get Cruz Campo served to you, because it is the Andalusian beer of choice down there. Now here's this urban vegetable garden again. As we can see, some tomatoes there ripening on the vine. They should be ready in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm sure people will come here and pick those nice ripe tomatoes for their gazpacho. And we've even got some sunflowers there as well, and lots of different types of vegetables in this garden. I think those are pumpkins, not quite sure. And then we've got some nice ripe tomatoes on the vine, which as I said, ready for picking. And just back to the beer conversation, as you guys know, beer is one of my favorite topics. I could talk about beer all day, and here in Spain a lot of the beers in my opinion are quite similar. We mentioned Cruz Campo a minute ago. Not much difference really between Cruz Campo, Mau, Amber, Estrella Damm, Estrella Galicia. So it's just a question of finding one that you like, and away you go when it comes to beers in this country. The majority of beer is lager beer, so that's what you get on tap here normally, and that's what the majority of locals in this country like to drink, a lager caña. And when it comes to my favorite beer, on hot days like this, I don't really have a favorite. I can drink anything on a hot day like this, so it doesn't matter if it is Mau, Cruz Campo, Estrella, it will all go down the same. But when it's a bit cooler, I prefer beers that are called here tostadas. They're a little bit stronger, more flavour, and on those cooler days they do go down a treat. But as I said, when the weather's hot like it is now, I don't really care. And another thing that popped up in the comments or chat the other day on the live stream was about the letter W here in Spain. The letter W, as we know, not used in many Spanish words, only words of foreign origin. So for example, names of places, surnames of people, products, for example, whiskey, Washington, Williams, Serena Williams, and it was only officially a letter in the Spanish language, I think, recently. When I say recently, probably in the last 30 or 40 years, because in Spain, before that, the letter W did not exist in the language, or at least that's what I believe. And Spanish people seem to have trouble pronouncing this letter, especially when it comes to surnames and some words. For example, water. Here in Spain, they pronounce water bata, so it's like a B sound. Whiskey is pronounced with a W sound, whiskey. And some surnames, for example mine, which begins with the letter W, difficult to pronounce for people here. And I don't know why that is, but they just have trouble getting their tongue around the letter W. And the letter W here is pronounced V doble. V is V in English, so it's like double V. In English we say double U, but here they say double V, ube doble. Some people say also doble B, which is two V's, double V, because as we know here in Spain, the V and the B are sometimes pronounced exactly the same. So for example, cow in Spanish, vaca, V-A-C-A, vaca, but there's also a word B-A-C-A, vaca, which is something that you put on top of a car, vaca del coche, but vaca or vaca del campo, V-A-C-A, B-A-C-A, bit confusing. And W, as I said, ube doble, so ube doble. So for example, if your name is Wilson, ube doble, I-L-S-O-N, that is how you would spell your name. And a lot of the times when you're here and people ask you for your surname and it begins with a W, for example, people do have trouble understanding it. So a curious aspect of the Spanish language, in my opinion, the way some of these letters are pronounced, especially the foreign letters like W. Difficult, as I said, for Spanish people to get their tongues around, and also for us when it comes to some of the Spanish sounds, some of the Spanish alphabet, it's not easy for us to say either. And when English speakers speak and pronounce Spanish, you can see some of the problems they have also getting their tongue around the Spanish alphabet, especially with some of the more difficult letters to pronounce. For example, the J and the G, J and G. Difficult for us to pronounce correctly, and as I said a couple of minutes ago, also with the V and the B. Now over here we have a typical summer camp, campamento de verano. Verano, again, a word that starts with the letter V but pronounced verano, and this is fairly typical here in Spain, that kids play football or they go on one of these football summer camps, and we can see the future stars of La Liga down there honing their skills. Summer camps are very popular in this country because parents work, can't take care of their kids, so they put them into these summer camps for 2 or 3 weeks at the beginning of summer until they take their holidays and they go away. So I'll wrap the video up here. I hope you have enjoyed the walk around this morning, some of the things that we have spoken about. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Let us know your thoughts on learning Spanish, some of the difficult things for you to get your head around, especially when it comes to pronunciation, alphabet, things like that, different words. Let us know. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.